ones here shortly. Thank you. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines.
LinkedIn.
Excellent. Tomorrow on the I Love CVille show, Dave Fafara is going to join us. Local icon Dave Fafara on the show tomorrow. Dave Fafara, most known, I think, for his time at Shenandoah Joe's. He has since exited Shenandoah Joe's, sold Shenandoah Joe's to a Darden graduate, and is now very committed to the toy lift and continuing Tom Powell's vision for the toy lift. Dave Fafara, an A-plus human being. Dave Fafara on tomorrow's show. Mark your calendars for the interview with Dave Fafara. Here's an interesting tidbit for you. The average age for the first-time home buyer is currently 40 years old. That's a new all-time high for the United States of America. The average age for the first-time home buyer has increased from 38 years old in 2024 and 35 years old in 2023. Judah, in the 1980s, the first-time home buyer, the average age was in their 20s.
Yeah.
So it's nearly doubled. I want to have a conversation with this topic. The average age for the first-time home buyer is 40 years old now. I would not be surprised in the Charlottesville area if it's older than that because it's expensive to live here. What will that do to the Charlottesville and Albemarle County area with first-time home buying now at its oldest age in American history? There has to be you have to be able to equate first-time home buying with starting a family.
Yeah.
And if the average age for the first-time home buyer is older than it's ever been, are we expecting a population decline?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Furthermore, what does that do for the outlook for those that are struggling to purchase homes and how they see their position in life when oftentimes their position in life is tied to, in some ways, home ownership? I want to talk about that on today's program. I have a prop bet for the viewers and listeners. Will Rachel Sheridan be fired by Abigail Spanberger first, or will Rachel Sheridan resign before Abigail Spanberger fires her? How about that proposition, Pat? Where is your money, Judah Wickower? Get ready to answer that question. And remember, we already have one prop bet rolling. You have Natalie Oshrin as the next mayor of Charlottesville. I have Michael Payne for a $75 or under bottle of aged scotch. Keith Smith also has action on this prop bet. He bet Juan Diego Wade. I think Keith Smith, of the three bets, has the least amount of opportunity to win that prop bet. Agree or disagree on that, Judah?
I think I agree.
You think Payne over Wade? You certainly think Oshrin over Payne. Do you think Payne over Wade?
Sure.
I think Payne over Wade, too. Like and share the show, viewers and listeners. We're going to rock and roll in the program. I'm going to ask you which headline most intrigues you and why here when the show starts. Judah Wickower. I want to start the program by giving some love to Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. If you're watching on YouTube, search the I Love CVille Network and subscribe to our channel, the I Love CVille Network. I'd love to start approaching 1 million views on our YouTube channel, the I Love CVille Network. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications, and help us spread the gospel. We work hard for you. That's the only thing we ask in return. Vanessa Parkhill, thank you kindly for watching the program. Judah Wickower, you feeling fresh? You feeling good?
Yeah.
You feeling fresh? You feeling funny?
Definitely.
Okay. I think we can rock and roll here, my friend, when you're ready. All right, let's do it, Judah.
Quiet on the set.
Welcome to the I Love CVille show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on a Tuesday in downtown Charlottesville. It's a pleasure to connect with you. Good afternoon to you. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast. We take content we take conversation and we centralize it to Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Just want to be the water cooler of content and conversation. A lot we're going to cover on the program. I want to take a macro or national topic, the average age for the American home buyer. Now it's 40 years old, 40 smackaroos. The average American home buyer is 40 years old. That is an all-time high for the United States of America. And to put that into perspective, in the 80s, the average home buyer was in their 20s. Now it's 40. Last year in 2024, it was 38. In 2023, it was 35. It's significantly escalated over the last few years. Again, in the 1980s, the first-time home buyer average age was in their 20s. This rising age for the first-time home buyer is attributed to a number of economic challenges, which we all know: the high cost of housing, stagnant salaries or wages, escalating credit card debt, floating debt, student loan debt. Did you see student loan payments are about to start back up again?
Uh-oh.
That's a potential headwind for the American economy. So there's a number of reasons why the average age for the first-time American home buyer is 40 years old. And again, in 1985, it was 25 years old. I want to take this macro topic and localize it to Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia and ask you this question. The average first-time home buyer in Charlottesville and Albemarle County, if it's 40 years old or older, it's expensive to live here. It very well could be older. I'm sure that data is out there. What's the impact that will have on CVille and Albemarle County? What's that impact it will have on American population? What's the impact it will have on Charlottesville and Albemarle County's population? What's the impact it will have on voting, on politics? What's the impact it will have on quality of life, on amenities? You name it, we're going to unpack it today on the I Love CVille show. I want to ask you this question. This came up with John Blair yesterday. John Blair, I missed your comments yesterday. I apologize for missing them. I will read your comments from yesterday's show on today's show. I'm going to ask you this question. There is a very good chance and scenario that 2 UVA Board of Visitors members will be fired within 1 year. Bert Ellis, appointed by Glenn Youngkin. Bert Ellis, fired by Glenn Youngkin. Rachel Sheridan, the rector, the current rector, it's obvious, Abigail Spanberger, the governor-elect, is going to fire Rachel Sheridan for malfeasance, malpractice, one of the M words, you name it, Sheridan's going to get canned. If I'm Rachel Sheridan, I said it on yesterday's show, I resign before I get canned, but it's obvious Spanberger is going to fire her. That means 2 UVA Board of Visitors members, Bert Ellis and Rachel Sheridan, will get fired if Sheridan does get fired within a year of each other. It's never happened in Board of Visitors history, ladies and gentlemen. Never in the history of the UVA BOV have Board of Visitors members been fired midterm. And we're going to have 2 within a year. I want to unpack that on today's show. I want to ask if Porter Wilkinson is also in the hit squad, the Spanberger hit squad, if she's in the scope of Spanberger. And I'm going to offer a proposition bet for Judah Wigkower and for you, the viewer and listener. If you had to put $100 on the line, does your money suggest or say that Sheridan will resign? Or does your money suggest or say that Sheridan will be pink slipped by Spanberger? That conversation on today's show. Also on the program, we're going to talk Laura Fonner, the self-proclaimed gypsy chef, Laura Fonner. I have a lot of respect for Laura Fonner. She is a star in her own right. And somebody let Laura Fonner know that we're going to offer some insight into perspective. We're going to be talking about her. The self-proclaimed gypsy chef, Laura Fonner, is leaving Beer Run. She's heading for Stanton. How do you think I say the name of this restaurant? Zynoda? Z-Y-N-O-D-A, Zynoda?
Yeah.
It opened in 2007 in Stanton, a restaurant known for Southern cuisine, and it's won national acclaim from USA Today, Forbes, and Vogue magazine. Laura Fonner, ladies and gentlemen, is leaving Beer Run. Her last day is on the 7th of December, and she starts at the Stanton Eatery on December 8th. So you have a mere few weeks to enjoy Laura Fonner's cuisine at Institutional Beer Run in Belmont. Would you say Beer Run is Belmont or Hogwaller? If you're Bill McChesney, that's a question for you.
It's kind of borderline.
It's on the border for sure. William McChesney. Who claims Belmont? Janice Boyce Trevelyan, Logan Wells Colelo. Who claims Belmont? Who claims Beer Run? Belmont or Hogwaller?
It's not really in either of their neighborhoods.
Then where would you say it's, if Belmont was located in which neighborhood, where would you say it was? Curtis Shaver, that's a question for you. Institutional Charlottesville. Beer Run is claimed by which neighborhood? We're going to talk Laura Fonner, her exit from Beer Run. It's amicable. It's absolutely amicable. And her move to Stanton. This is probably Charlottesville's most famous chef, wouldn't you say? Is Charlottesville's most famous chef right now Laura Fonner? I've got to think because of the exposure and notoriety she garnered on the Food Network. Kid Ashley's been on the Food Network as well. Kid Ashley's Charlottesville's most prolific restaurateur. We talked about that yesterday along with Dino Hoxhaj. But I'd say the most famous chef is Laura Fonner. She's heading to Stanton. I want to talk about that on the program. I want to continue the conversation of the James Franklin hiring. James Franklin, as you know, the former Penn State head coach, is now the head coach of Virginia Tech. This topic came up on the Jerry and Jerry show this morning featuring the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer Jerry Ratcliffe. Will James Franklin be on the sidelines in Charlottesville 1 week from this Saturday when Virginia Tech hits Scott Stadium in what should be a sold-out contest in Charlottesville? Will James Franklin be on the sidelines? And the impact on James Franklin, not just for Hokie Nation, but the impact of the Franklin hire here in Charlottesville and Virginia. And John Blair says the restaurant is excellent and is pronounced Zenodoa. Zenodoa. Thank you. He actually does it phonetically for me. John Blair is a gentleman and a scholar.
Nice.
From my peripheral vision, John, while playing squash yesterday, I saw your son and your fantastic wife around the squash courts. From my peripheral vision, I was actually playing with my son. So great to see the Blair family around the squash courts. The Blairs are fantastic people in this community. I also want to talk about the railway. There's a Santa Express. I love the moniker, the Santa Express. Mm-hmm. Judah's going to give us the who, what, when, where, why on the Santa Express. And I'm going to use that topic of the Santa Express as a springboard to ask this question. Remember, we're the water cooler of content and conversation. How can the railway be better used in Charlottesville and Albemarle County? Why not a trolley of some kind on the railway? Why not some kind of short stop often form of public transport on the railway? I'm not talking Amtrak here. I'm talking something that is quick, short stops, linking like Orange, Ivy, Crozet, parts of Charlottesville. It stops all over Charlottesville.
It sounds like this is something that they're thinking about with the Buckingham Branch Railroad.
Yeah, I'd like to talk. We call it like the Charlottesville Express.
Yeah.
You know, call it the Jefferson Express. You don't want to call it the Jefferson Express? Is Jefferson the preferred nomen? Can we even use Jefferson's name anymore?
Why? Because he had slaves?
Yeah, I mean, they had to rebrand was it the Jefferson Land Trust to the Piedmont Land Trust? They had to rebrand the Land Trust because of that. I mean, can I even say Jefferson without catching heat, without Nakiah Walker lambasting me on today's program? I love zinging the former mayor, Nakiah Walker. Like and share the show, viewers and listeners. Like and share the show. We'll give some love to Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes is who you contact for anything hardscape related at your house or your place of business. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes will take hardscapes, hardscape dreams, and make them a reality, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, the value for a custom hardscape at your home or your place of business, it's not just return on investment. The actual value of the hardscape is a return on memories. It's quality of life. It's experiences. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes is who you contact, ladies and gentlemen, for anything hardscape related. Mike Buchensky, Coach B, is watching the program. Fantastic mortgage broker for First Heritage Mortgage, and he's got some commentary to offer on the the oldest home buyer, 40 years old in American history now, first-time home buyer. I want to offer some perspective on this first, Judah, okay? You ready for this? Let's two-shot Judah Wickower so we can see the always charming, confident, cool, the conversationalist, the calculated, the charismatic Judah Wickower over there. That's the embodiment of charismatic right there. Look at that. Judah Wickower, I'm going to give you some stats and some data for you, okay? You ready for this?
Yeah.
The average age of a first-time American home buyer is 40 years old.
Yeah.
40 years old. This is the new all-time high for America, new all-time for the United States of America. This is a bad record. Are we in agreement this is a bad record to set?
Yeah, oh yeah. And what's even worse is how quickly we reached it.
Right. Right.
I'm sure you're going to get to that right now.
I am, and you make that point too, though. That's a very important point to make. And in 2024, the average age for the first-time home buyer was 38.
Yeah, and the year before that, it was 35.
Was 35.
So going from in the 20s, what, 40, 45 years ago?
1985,
Yeah.
so 40 years ago, was 25.
Yeah.
40 years ago,
So it's not like it just went like slowly like this. It was like
meteoric rise.
Bam.
Yeah, yeah, right. Meteoric rise right there. So 25 in 1985, 35 in 2023. Obviously, the contributing factors here are what? Stagnant wages,
Yeah.
the escalating cost of housing. I'm not going to chalk it up to rates. In the 80s, the rates were higher. They were in the teens. I won't chalk it up to rates.
But I would say that that's a contributing factor, considering that wages haven't kept up with the cost of housing, the cost of anything really.
Well, I would say this: your best argument against the rate argument. People are like, oh, in the 80s, the rates were in the teens, the high teens, and we made it work. Well, and when the rates were in the high teens when you made it work in the 80s, the cost of housing was a fraction of what it is today.
Yeah. You also have to
like the boomers will push back on this with the proverbial, oh, I walk 10 miles one way barefoot in the snow uphill, and you ride in your parents' Prius to get to school.
I worked one job, and
yeah.
We were a one-job fammy. Yeah.
And if you're the young millennial, you push back on those boomers that say, I walk one way barefoot in the snow uphill while you're going to school in our Prius. You push back on saying, well, mom and dad, the cost of a house was $95,000.
Yeah.
And now it's $495,000.
Right. And the amount that you were making a year wasn't that much different. There's also the fact, when you talk about rates, there's also the fact that a lot of people are staying in their house because they got good rates. So even though rates aren't at like 17, 18%, you still have a lot of people staying sticky in their homes, which is, affecting everything from the cost to the ability of, younger people to get into a home.
The golden handcuffs of the Fed and cutting rates, its impact on the 30-year mortgage, and how a large percentage of the American population is golden handcuffed to their house because they have a 2 or 3% rate secured during COVID. Make sure you rotate those lower thirds on screen for the viewers and listeners. So I want to have this topic, I want to ask this topic and apply it to Charlottesville. How does this 40-year, 40, the average first-time American home buyer, 40 years old, average age, how does that impact the Charlottesville and Albemarle County area? We have a lender watching the program, Mike Buchensky of First Heritage Mortgage. We've affectionately dubbed him Coach B because he's a basketball coach. He's also a fantastic lender with First Heritage. I sincerely mean that, Mike B. I've heard nothing but good things about you. He's got a fabulous wife, Sarah Hill Buchensky, who's a realtor, who's very good at her job as well. He says, it will take 10 plus years for the housing market to even out with the large price increases of 50% in most areas' higher rates. We are now in typically territory based on history, inflation, and I'm gonna have to reread this, Michael. I'm gonna take this from the top here. It will take 10 plus years for the housing market to even out with the large price increases of 50% in most areas. Higher rates, inflation, and several trillion dumped into the economy during COVID is messing things up. It's going to be this way for some time. He also adds, Charlottesville is insulated with regards to jobs. There will always be new employment opportunities for UVA, hospitals, Inchick, et cetera, so the money will flow in, and Charlottesville will continue to have a solid housing market compared to the national average. I got some intel from realtors that I trust. Did you know that nearly 40% of transactions in the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors footprint, nearly 40% of home transactions are all cash transactions? Nearly 40%. So I'm going to use that stat, which is a stat backed by data. 40% of transactions. That number's escalated from 33%. About a year ago, it was 33% of transactions. Now we're flirting with 40. I'm going to use these two statistics. You ready, Judah? Nearly 40% of the home sales in the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors footprint are all cash.
Yeah.
I'm going to compound that, or I'm going to sprinkle that in with the macro statistic that the average first-time home buyer age in America now is 40 years old. Remember the number 40 for your cocktail and charcuterie party this weekend. So if we know that 40% of transactions are all cash, the people that probably have all cash that are doing the real estate deals are?
Over 40.
Over 40. On top of that, the average age for America for home buyers is?
40.
So that leads us to believe that many of the homes that are selling in the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors footprint are being purchased by?
People over 40.
And what's the impact that may have on Charlottesville and Albemarle County moving forward? I want to have that conversation on the show. What's the impact that's going to have on public schools, on enrollment? Remember, Weldon Cooper, they're data geeks, stat guys, stat gals. Weldon Cooper has said over the next 10 to 15 years, the public school system enrollment's going to fall dramatically.
I'm not surprised.
While private school enrollment's going to uptick because wealth is moving in. And middle income, lower income is being gentrified or pinched out. What's the other impact this has on amenities? What's the impact this has on suburban versus urban living? What's the impact this has on outdoor experiences? What's the impact this has on music? What's the impact this has on the services that are provided to the area? Contracting services. What's the impact this has on design? What's the impact this has on restaurants? What's the impact this has on hubs of economic prosperity, activity, or lack thereof? Let's unpack that on the show today. And I want to do that with the viewers and listeners like Deep Throat, like John Blair, like Vanessa Parkhill, like William McChesney, like Coach B. I want to do that with James Watson and Lonnie Murray's help, with Kate Shart's help, with Lloyd Snook's help, James Madison's help, all watching the program, Cully Baggett. I want to do that with Mick Markley's help. I want to do that with you, Judah Wickhauer's help. Judah, my friend, you co-host of the show. You get first crack to unpack this topic or offer your commentary.
I think the rising age of the first-time home buyer, along with how much of that selling, buying and selling is taking place with all cash, is going to have a big effect on especially smaller businesses. How do you pay enough to have someone who can't afford to live in the area come and work at your place? When I wonder what the makeup of Charlottesville is and how that's been changing over the years. If there were some numbers on that, that would be really interesting. Whether the overall age of the average Charlottesville and Albemarle citizen is going up. Because that would tell me that that a lot of the working class, a lot of the people working in food and beverage, a lot of the people working retail, are getting pushed out of the area.
Good stuff. Good starting point. I'm going to ask these questions. How much of the American dream is tied to home ownership? I'm going to ask these questions. How much of the Charlottesville's version of the American dream is tied to the white picket fence, the front yard, the backyard, the driveway, the garage, home ownership? How much of Albemarle County's version of the American dream is tied to the half acre to acre of land, if not more, the 2-car garage, the first floor primary, the second floor primary, the 4 bedrooms, the 2.5, 3 baths, the basement with the pool table, the foosball table, you name it. I'm going to ask this question. Is today's version of the American dream now jaded, or has it completely morphed into something that's different? Multifamily, condos, townhomes. I'm going to ask this question. Without home ownership, are you getting married at the same clip? Without home ownership, are you getting married and having kids and starting family at the same clip? Without home ownership, are you getting married, having kids, and then watching as your kids have kids at the same clip? And without home ownership, or with later home ownership, are things in life missing or lacking joy? Are you seeing the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha? Do you have the generational chart you can put on screen?
Yeah.
Can you put that on screen? Let the viewers and listeners know when that's on screen.
That is on screen.
Take a look at the screen, viewers and listeners, for our generational chart. Philip Dow, welcome to the program. Mayor of Scottsville. Look at the screen. Gen Z is characterized by what age range? I'm a millennial. Judah, which one are you?
I am Gen X.
You're Gen X. I'm a millennial. What's Gen Z's age range?
97 to 2012.
So a Gen Zer at 97, and old Gen Zer is 28.
Yeah.
28. A young Gen Zer is 13. So the old Gen Zers are certainly fighting this battle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The Gen Alphas, Generation Alpha, this does not apply to them.
Not yet.
But somebody, not yet, exactly. Yet is the key word. But someone that's an old Gen Zer or a young millennial, the youngest of millennials is 29.
Yeah.
So there's young millennials that are in their 20s right now. There's old Gen Zers that are in their mid to late 20s right now. If you're in the young millennial age bracket or the old Gen Z bracket, and you've been priced out of home ownership in Charlottesville and Albemarle County, first-time home buyer ownership, what's your Albemarle County American dream look like? What's your marriage status look like? What's your soon-to-be parent or lack thereof status look like? And what is the impact that's going to have on the community? Judah's already identified, well, when you're not birthing babies at a clip that we once did in American history, when home ownership in the 1980s was 25 years, the average age in 1985, babies aren't coming as quickly as possible, then how are these 12, 10, 9, $13 an hour jobs, these $2.13 hour jobs plus tip, these server jobs, these busboy jobs, these hostess jobs, how are they being filled? Who's filling them? Right?
I think the age of a lot of things is getting older.
James Watson watching the program, his photo on screen. Mr. Watson, a UVA graduate right there. He says, I could see areas east of Charlottesville from Louisa out through Goochland and Richmond seeing more of these 50-year mortgages, but the starting price point in Charlottesville now is just too high. I'm assuming those mortgages come with a ton of paperwork and hoops, so it takes too long to jump through to compete with anybody who could take a house in the market in Charlottesville. William McChesney, his photo on screen. He says, the areas where the working folks used to reside are being gentrified as well.
Yeah.
Waynesboro is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Louise is a good example of that. Lake Monticello is a good example of that. Lake Monticello was all day, every day, twice on Sunday, slam dunk, first-time home buyer market. When I bought the condo at the Villas at Southern Ridge, we still own it. It's a rental property, $2,500 a month. It's garnering. The Villas at Southern Ridge condo, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, no debt on the condo right now. When I bought that, it was between the Villas and a home in Lake Monticello. And I chose the Villas because I was in my 20s, I was in the closing down the bar stage, and I wanted to be close to downtown versus the 45-minute commute to the lake in Fluvanna County. Now you look at Fluvanna County and Lake Monticello, and it's not slam dunk so much first-time home buyer anymore. It's now step-up buyer. There were many neighborhoods in Southside Charlottesville 15, 20 years ago that were step-up neighborhoods. So second-time purchase neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You had Lake Renovia, Mill Creek, Redfields. You had, is it Fox Chase or Foxcroft down Avon Extended?
I mean, you could just say all the places around Lake Renovia. They're all
Yeah.
They're kind of like cookie cutter, basically copies of each other.
And those neighborhoods were step up. Those were the second-time home purchase neighborhoods,
Yeah.
where you were climbing the housing ladder from a first-time purchase. Maybe you bought in working-class Belmont at the time, working-class Hogwaller at the time. Maybe you bought in Lake Monticello, and then you want to get closer to the epicenter of employment, Charlottesville. Then you went to the neighborhoods, Mill Creek, Lake Renovia, or the neighboring ones. Redfields, good example. Now you look at the price points of like a Redfields, which I think is one of the best neighborhoods out there. I lived there for 7 years on Rockledge Drive. That is no longer a second-time purchase neighborhood. It's no longer the step-up neighborhood. It's now like the third time up the ladder
Yeah, it's
neighborhood.
definitely not the first time.
It's now $500,000, $600,000, some $700,000 purchase. When I got in the step up over there, I got mine. I think it was for like $368.
Oh my goodness.
I want to say. Now that's $368 is $600 plus.
Yeah.
And Redfields. Okay, so let me ask you this question. Mike Buchensky says Elkton is next. I say Buckingham is next as well, ladies and gentlemen, for gentrification. Waynesboro, it's already happening right now, viewers and listeners. Ray Cadell, Big Ray and the Cool Cats watching the program, his photo on screen. He says, I've done more cash transactions in the last 2 years. Big Ray's a realtor. He said, I've done more cash transactions the last 2 years than in my previous 38 years combined. He's worked in real estate for 38 years. No, excuse me, 40 years when you include the two. Big Ray's been in real estate for 40 years, and he said he's done more cash deals in the last 2 years than his previous 38 years combined. He also says this. Here's a thought. How many folks are living in a house they bought 5, 10, and even 20 years ago that they could not afford to buy today? I know I am. Ray Cadell is saying that. Ray Cadell, you made the program better today. Love you, Big Ray. What does this do to the jadedness, Judah, of Gen Z and soon to be Gen Alpha? My kids are Gen Alpha. What's Gen Alpha go to? What age? What year?
Gen Alpha, wasn't it 13 was the top? So it was like
And the youngest?
2012.
And
Gen Alpha is the newest one. I don't know, is it over yet?
It's still going on right now, so both my kids Gen Alpha. What does that do to the jadedness or outlook on life for Gen Z and Gen Alpha?
I would say it feeds into their fears, feeds into their insecurities about what they're going to do, how they're going to start families, how they're going to be able to afford life. I mean, if things are this bad in 2025, what are things going to be like when some of these people when some of Gen Alpha are reaching the 20?
Bingo. That's what I want to wonder. That's what I want to talk about.
I would say it's incredibly disheartening I would imagine it's incredibly disheartening for a lot of them.
That's what I want to talk about.
Looking ahead, looking forward, and saying, how is any of this feasible?
We live in a society where it's easier for an 18-year-old to take on $250,000 in debt to study philosophy than it is for a 25-year-old to buy a home for the first time.
Yeah, it's nuts.
A society where an 18-year-old can take on $250,000 in debt to pursue a degree that will never pay that debt back in the student's lifetime. But that same student, 10 years after accruing that debt, cannot buy a house that's actually collateral for the loan.
Yeah.
We live in a society, we live in a community. Let's go community. Let's go super hyper local. We live in a community where the HUD median family household income is basically 126,000 running up. It's 125,800. It's going to be even higher when the next HUD numbers come out. And as this HUD family median household income goes up, as the price of housing goes up, as 40% of sales, home sale transactions becomes 42, 43%, as boomers sell their houses elsewhere and move here with Scrooge McDuck bags of money in hand, the 20-something-year-old, the 30-something-year-old is literally on the outside of the dance hall, looking through the windows at the prom and wondering why they did not get invited to the party of the year for the senior class. They're not wallflowers at the dance. They're not at the punch bowl at the dance. They're not hoping for a dance with Jessica at the end of the night. They're not even in the room. And they may not even be looking through the window from outside the room. They most likely are at their parents' basement right now watching reruns of The Family Guy while stuffing their face with Twinkies and buttered popcorn. What does that do to outlook? And how do you fix it? How do you change? Should we change it? Should we change it? Here's a better question. Should we change it? Is it our goal to change it as leaders? Is it our goal as leaders, as government, as financiers, as bankers, as people in positions of influence? Is it our responsibility to change it? Or do we just say,
it may seem like
figure it out on your own?
It may seem like a trope, but I think ideally we want to leave our area better than we found it. Whether we've lived here our whole life or moved here as transplants.
Okay, follow-up question to that. Is it my responsibility as a father, my wife's responsibility as a mother, mom and dad, we have 2 boys, is it mom and dad's responsibility to fix it for our sons? Is it mom and dad's responsibility to realize what's going on for their Gen Z children and their Gen Alpha children and figure out ways to better set up their children? And I'm not just talking about paying for college anymore.
Yeah, I think it's the responsibility, at the very least, to not leave it worse than you found it.
John Blair's photo on screen.
And to give your kids the tools to hopefully continue what if you consider that there's anything that's being I'm kind of joking, but continue the job of making this place better.
Are those tools that parents are supposed to give their kids no longer paying for their college education or helping pay for their college education? Are those tools now providing them or giving them or inheriting or offering through inheritance rental properties or businesses that they can take over? Is the expectation of parents now no longer, the one-time expectation for parent was get your kid to 18 and graduate from high school, and then your kid goes and figures out life. And then with boomers, the expectation was with parents with boomers was get your kid to 18, graduate from high school, and then figure out a way to pay for his college or her college or at least some of it. Because the 4-year degree was how you got ahead. Mm-hmm. Now is the expectation for you, you are Gen what?
I was
Gen X parents is Judah. Millennial parents, me and my wife. Is our expectation now as parents for Gen X and millennial parents, it's not just pay for college if you even choose to do that, but it's provide them with a succession plan for a business or give them real estate, paid off real estate that can help supplement their income? Or even buy Mike Buchensky, First Heritage Mortgage, says the next solution is people are going to need to combine households. Either do purchases of homes with friends or do multi-generational purchases. We've talked about this with the Earpies. The Earpies have said on the I Love CVille network, it's 3 Earpie brothers and their mom and their dad and their mom, right? The 2 of the Earpie brothers are married, have kids. One of the Earpie brothers is single. Then they have the mom and the dad. And they're talking about, one day doing a family compound for all the Earpies to live in one compound.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea if you can stand your family.
Yeah. Is that now, if you can stand your family? They love each other. Their adoration for each other is commendable. I find it invigorating being around the Earpies. They genuinely love each other.
Oh, yeah.
Not all families are like that. A lot of cases, my family is not like that. One of the things I admire about the Whitcowers, Judah's family, you guys are each other's best friends. You love each other's company. You vacation together, you holiday together, you spend a lot of time together. You're not each other's best friends. Which one of your sisters gets on your nerves?
That does not mean that we don't have
Which one of your
massive
sisters
arguments.
gets on your nerves, Judah?
Well,
It's not your parents, that's for sure.
I mean, we all frustrate each other.
I mean, you guys are going to church on a Sunday.
Historically,
going to Bojangles afterwards or the Golden Corral afterwards. Don't burn Big Jim Whitcower's French fries, and then going back to the Whitcower estate and eating these do burn their French fries.
Cook them crispy.
Then going back to the Whitcower estate and eating his high-powered gummies and tripping balls while on the leather couch watching The Simpsons on a Sunday afternoon. Isn't that the story you told last week?
I don't know if the story went exactly like that, but
there were certainly high potent gummies in your story.
Very high potency. We mostly get along, but we all have arguments. It was, I think, Trisha and I argued more, and Mandy. I think it was. I don't want to get into our family's politics, but we have, I wouldn't say knockdown, drag-out fights, but we have some pretty heavy arguments, and then we get over it.
Good, as you should.
Yeah.
That's good.
But
a little friction and getting over it is good. We got comments coming in. Finish your thought.
I was just going to say, talking about the multifamily housing, I mean, is that even possible here?
Generational housing, the compounds?
One of the things that I haven't really seen around Charlottesville is the split level. A lot of the in Maine, I had some friends who did that. It was at least 3 generations. They had a three-story brick house. Basically had kind of like a house/apartment on each level, and the whole family lived there. And I love to go visit. Saw that in Savannah as well. A lot of the downtown living was these old houses that have had the levels split so that you've got.
He's talking generational living.
Yeah.
He wants to know, is there generational living in Charlottesville? There absolutely is. It's not going to come with a cheap price tag, however. But with the generational living, the Earpies, for example, you could have 3 Earpie men and their wives and their families buying alongside the Earpie mom and dad, and then you pool your income and you get something pretty special.
No doubt.
John Blair watching the program, his photo on screen. Jerry, if you really want to break this down to a very micro level, think about this. As prices keep skyrocketing and younger people have fewer living options and there are fewer kids, how long can Scottsville maintain its own elementary school? That worries me. I would absolutely, if I lived in the outer county, in the outer portions of Albemarle County, be worried about those elementary schools. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I would be concerned about them. I would also absolutely be concerned if you're in the Albemarle County public school system or the Charlottesville public school system of educational gentrification, where the public school systems become silos of socially economic, marginalized families. Weldon Cooper is basically saying that's happening right now. That's what Weldon Cooper is saying. That's what the data suggests, and that impact is going to be even more noteworthy and significant. Maria Marshall Barnes, Curtis Shaver, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for watching the show. William McChesney, the mayor of McIntyre. You are seeing area businesses end because the successors don't want to work as hard as their parents did to keep it going. I am in the business of brokering deals, and we broker a lot of business transactions. In the process of doing a couple right now. And a lot of the reason these transactions come to me, potential transactions, is because there is no succession plan. There is no succession plan. I had a conversation with a realtor who I'm not going to name, but a very noteworthy realtor. It is not Keith Smith, but a very noteworthy realtor this week in our office. And this particular individual said his kids saw how hard he worked And as a result, you were a part of this conversation, as a result of how hard he worked to give them a very well-to-do life, private schools, brick Georgian, cars, pay for college.
Yeah.
They now say to him, I'm never going to work after 5:30 p.m. on a work day or on the weekend, and I turn my phone off and my email once I'm done at 5:30, and I don't turn it back on until I get back to work on Monday at 9 a.m. And he was almost floored and flabbergasted. He said, my kids saw me work 7 days a week to provide them a life of private schools and 5-bedroom house, their cars, their sports, all this other stuff. And now when they see me, they're out of college. That makes them what, Gen Zers. They tell me to my face, 5:30 the work stops, and nothing happens ever on the weekends, not even looking at email, and it doesn't start until Monday at 9 a.m.
Yeah, that's perfectly understandable. I mean, there are a few things going into that. Part of it is, okay, hear me out. Okay. Part of it is that we're in a different time period now. We're in a time and a place where you're never unreachable, or at least very, very rarely unreachable. So unless you set some boundaries, you're setting yourself up for just constant inundation of work or whatever. Add to that the fact that these people, growing up, as you mature, you may understand in your head that what your father did was for the family. He may have sacrificed. He may have sacrificed time, other things to build and grow the family and give it what it has today. But at the same time, as a child, oftentimes it's not your head that's making the judgments; it's your heart. And if you're seeing that, if you're seeing the hardship that all of that hard work puts on your parent, if you're noticing the times when they're not there, whether it's basketball games or okay, well that's
what's the point? What's the point?
The point is it's looking at that and saying, okay, that's great, but I want to have a relationship with my kids.
But those same people are also saying I can't afford to live here. You can't say I can't afford to live here. Yeah, and it's boo-hoo-hoo, and also say, I'm not willing to work after 5:30, I'm not willing to take any calls, return any emails, or consider any business on the weekend, and I'm taking off from Friday at 5:30 to Monday at 9 a.m. That is the sacrifice. If a Gen Z, and you and I are constantly at disagreement on this topic, and it makes for a great talk show. Yeah. And I'm not saying anyone's right here. I'm not saying my way is right. I'm not saying your way is right. If I were to take off from what I do professionally at 5:30 every day, Monday through Friday, and not do any work until 9 a.m. the next day, or if I were to take off at 5:30 on Friday and not do any work or answer any emails or consider anything work-related until Monday at 9, which is what you do, right? And
largely.
99% of the time. Extremely largely. If I were not to do any holiday, then this would not be what it is today 18 years later when it was initially started. It wouldn't work. Yeah. And the spoils of my labor are 5-bedroom, 4.5 bath in Ivy on 4 acres with a pool, a second grader at a private school, and a stay-at-home, a wife that's able to stay at home.
Yeah.
Okay? And you're right. I miss a lot of stuff.
And some people are willing to make that sacrifice.
I miss a lot of stuff. 100%. I miss a lot of stuff. And still, we consider every dollar that's coming out of the house. It's far from Scrooge McDucking. But we live in Ivy, 9 minutes from downtown Charlottesville, on 4 acres. And we are in agreement, my better half and I, that that's the path we're going to pursue. It's up to the party. But I don't want to hear boo-hoo-hoo from Gen Z and Gen Alpha if the mindset is I'm going to turn off at 5 p.m. and not activate again professionally until 9 a.m. the next day, or go the entire weekend turning off.
I mean, then we get into the argument of how many hours is the right amount of hours, and is
that's it's the choice of the individual.
yeah.
But the individual that works 40 is not going to keep up with the individual that works 50. And the individual that works 50 is not going to keep up with the individual that works 60. And the individual that works 60 is not going to keep up with the individual that works 70, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
There's levels to this, and the levels are determined by effort. And such is life.
Sometimes.
Charlottesville Sanitary Supply is the highest of all levels. 61 years of business for Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. And goodness gracious, Andrew and John Vermillion are at the pinnacle of the profession, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, on East High Street and online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. Did you know they offer free delivery in market, often the same day the delivery? charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com has anything that you can purchase at a big box store, and they offer delivery for free. They will get the package to you on your doorstep faster than the big box stores and their websites. And they're locally owned and operated by a family that's been in Albemarle County for 5 generations, the Vermillions. Mm-hmm. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. All right, we have some other topics we need to get to. Viewers and listeners, giddy up and get ready. Judah Wickhauer, are you ready for this? Next lower third on screen. Bert Ellis fired by Glenn Youngkin. Right?
Yeah.
Bert Ellis appointed by Glenn Youngkin. Bert Ellis fired by Glenn Youngkin in March of 2025.
Like a discarded tool.
Like a discarded tool. Rachel Sheridan, on the cusp of getting fired by Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger. Rachel Sheridan is the rector of the UVA Board of Visitors, the top dog on the board. Mm-hmm. That means within one year, March of last year for Bert Ellis, January of this year for Sheridan, malfeasance, malpractice, you're going to see 2 board members fired. You may see a third fired in Porter Wilkinson, the vice rector. That has never happened in UVA history. Not only has 1 board member never been fired in UVA history, you're going to have 2 within 10 months of each other, and potentially 3. Mm-hmm. I want you to think about that at your cocktail and charcuterie party this weekend, viewers and listeners. I'm going to then take that little tidbit of information and ask you, offer a prop bet for you. You ready for this prop bet? I love proposition bets.
I know.
Judah and I already have 1 proposition bet, and we worked Keith Smith into this bet as well. Who's going to be the next mayor of Charlottesville, Virginia? Judah Wickhauer's $75 bottle of scotch is on
Natalie Oshrin.
My $75 bottle of scotch is on Michael Payne. Keith Smith's $75 bottle of scotch is on Juan Diego Wade. I don't think Keith Smith has ever won a proposition bet on this network. Not a single one. I believe he's 0 for 8.
You think he does it on purpose?
No, I don't think he does. I don't think he does. Have you won a proposition bet?
Technically.
The Jack Brown's bet did not count as a victory.
Right.
Are you 0 and 1 on proposition bets?
Yeah, more or less.
You are 0 and 1. I am 9 and 1 on proposition bets. 9 and 1. Okay. Is it raining? No. Squirrel. Who prop bet? Are you ready for this? It is raining? Okay. Prop bet. Rachel Sheridan resigns or gets fired.
I'm not taking the prop bet, but if I had to guess, I would say that I don't know. If I were her, I would resign.
If I was Rachel Sheridan, without question, I would resign.
Yeah.
She's about to be run through the smear campaign by Virginia Democrats. Rachel Sheridan, I've been told that you watch and listen to the show. She is about to be run through the smear campaign by Virginia Democrats.
Yeah. I think
state senators, delegates, Governor-elect Spanberger, Governor-elect's cabinet, her lieutenants, the media. She's getting smeared by Jim Ryan.
She's in the churn. I would get the heck out of that place so fast.
Rachel Sheridan, you're watching, listening to the program from time to time. Resign. Rip the Band-Aid off. My proposition bet money, it sounds like we don't have one, is on Rachel Sheridan resigning before Governor-elect Spanberger fires her for malpractice.
Yeah.
Porter Wilkinson, does she resign? Or does she say, maybe Spanberger does not fire me because Sheridan's going to get fired or she's going to resign, and that's going to distract the governor's attention, the media's attention, and Virginia Democrats' attention away from me, Porter Wilkinson, the vice rector.
I mean, again, I would resign if I were her.
Even Vice Rector Porter Wilkinson. She's had vacations interrupted by this Virginia soap opera and saga. Porter Wilkinson. European vacations interrupted by this.
I mean, maybe a lot of these people see an appointment to the Board of Visitors different, but
it's one of the most prestigious boards in Virginia.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, if you like that thing, great. But for me, it would just be more trouble than it's worth, especially with especially getting stuck between the DOJ, Trump, the
Jim Ryan,
Katrina Carlson, and Creed Deeds.
Change your socks. Jim
Ryan, and
the media,
and
the I Love CVille show, in particular, Judah Wickower.
Me.
John Blair says this, in the end, what doesn't make sense to me is Burt Ellis. How did Youngkin end up taking Jim Ryan's side and firing Burt Ellis and then have this 180-degree change only a few months later? Unless and until that piece of information can fit in the puzzle, it is bizarre. Why remove the guy leading the charge for Jim Ryan's termination if that was your ultimate objective, Glenn Youngkin?
Yeah, a lot of this doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Makes no sense. No sense. And that's why it's great content and conversation for the water cooler of Charlottesville and Central Virginia.
Yeah.
Rachel Sheridan, resign. You're about to run through the smear campaign ringer. Jeremy Wilson's watching in Eastern Tennessee. I bought my house in 1997, and my mortgage on that house was $617 in Cokeville, Tennessee. Janice Boyce Trevelyan, our first house was 1,000 square feet with 5 people and 1 bathroom. Kids today don't want that. They want the big house with all the fancy stuff. My husband worked overtime and 2 jobs until our kids were all in school and I got a job. We worked hard to get what we had and we now have the home we dreamed of. Amen, Janice Boyce Trevelyan. Amen, Judah Wickower. Amen, Janice Boyce Trevelyan.
Amen.
Love you, JBT. Vanessa Parkhill, everyone has to choose their own path. That's okay. We make different sacrifices for different things. Mike Buchensky, it takes what it takes, as much as needed to get to your goals. Everyone has different goals, 100%. Everyone has different goals. One of the goals for us was for our oldest to go to a private school because that was important to us because we saw challenges with some of the public school education. So we sacrificed for it. Next headline, Judah Wickower, what do you got?
Next up, we have railway. How can the railway make Charlottesville better?
You want to let them know about the Santa Express, the who, what, when, where, why, the Santa Express?
Yeah, there's something new going on with the Buckingham Branch Railroad. It travels east-west through Charlottesville, and they have begun offering excursion trips using restored engines. I think this could be a great thing for not just for Charlottesville, but for bringing in tourists.
Can you tell me what the who, what, when, why is?
Yeah. Let's see. They want to make Louisa a Central Virginia railway hub. The service is launching later this month with Santa Express. It's a 60-minute holiday-themed train that will operate from a former railway depot refurbished by the company. And the same service in Stanton often sells out as a major tourist destination. They're also planning on more special types of travel in 2026, including murder mysteries, onboard history lessons, as well as wine tasting trains.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and then at the bottom, to give you an idea of how popular it is, they say you can attempt to purchase tickets on the Virginia Scenic Railway website, but the service appears to be fully booked. There's a wait list.
I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Santa Express, all aboard. I think it's great.
How about we figure out a way to make Charlottesville and Albemarle County and Central Virginia better by utilizing and leveraging the railway way more? Why are there not short stops, trains that run frequently, almost like bus routes, but on the railway, connecting like Orange and Charlottesville and Ivy and Western Albemarle and City of Charlottesville and basically utilizing the rail infrastructure that runs for some kind of transportation that has frequent and often and consistent and reliable and predictable stops many times throughout Central Virginia. Which would encourage people to not rely on vehicle transport, which would declutter, decongest, de-traffic the roads, which would improve quality of life, which would improve the environment, the eco-friendly nature of the region, which would improve timeliness, because you're densifying railroad transportation with bodies as opposed to cars, which people get to and from places faster, allows you to do work instead of driving. Why aren't we short stopping, using the railway with short stops? Like you see, I've had this crazy idea. Judah laughs at me and the viewers and listeners laugh at me.
I was just going to bring this up.
You're going to go with me on this? Why isn't there a gondola system all over Charlottesville and Albemarle and Central Virginia? A gondola system with stops strategically, like on Pantops, in the city of Charlottesville, Western Albemarle, Ivy, Forest Lakes, Hollymead, Southside Charlottesville, Fluvanna, a gondola system like you see at a ski resort, but a gondola system around the region. Why don't we have that? You park at a get-on point or a get-off point at a gondola. You get on the gondola, you're on Keswick or Pantops, you go to the UVA hospital, you work your shift, you get on the gondola, and you take the gondola back to Keswick, and then you get in your car and you drive half a mile to your house. It could be so much better. World-class needs world-class innovation. If we're going to be world-class, let's world-class think, world-class thought lead, world-class innovate.
You do realize how far we currently are from world-class, though?
You're throwing shade on Charlottesville?
No.
Final headline. What do you got, Judah?
Let's see. How about Laura Funner?
Oh, so we got two more headlines. Let's give some love to Conan Owen of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. If you have a logo and you need an application for it, it's Conan Owen of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, who you call. They did the banner directly behind us. They do the vinyl on our storefront window on Market Street. They handle all the signage for our tenant portfolio, and they help a lot of our clients. Conan Owen, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. He's a Darden graduate. Judah, Laura Funner is changing jobs. She's leaving Beer Run.
I found a neighborhood map, and there actually is no Hogwaller.
With Beer Run?
No, Hogwaller is not an official designation. So,
Bill McChesney, is Beer Run Hogwaller or Belmont?
Beer Run is just across the border of Belmont.
Okay, so it's Hogwaller.
Little High.
It's Hogwaller then.
If you want to call Little High Hogwaller,
I would say,
sure.
Or is it Woolen Mills? Is Beer Run Woolen Mills?
No, it's Little High. It's also right on the border of Woolen Mills.
Is it right on the? That's Hogwaller, right? What is it, William McChesney? You would know this, sir. This is right up his alley.
You can call it Hogwaller. I just don't. There are no official borders of Hogwaller because it's not an official designation of a neighborhood.
I think that's Beer Run is Hogwaller.
Okay.
Anyway, she's going to Stanton. She's leaving Hogwaller, Woolen Mills, Belmont, or Little High, and Beer Run. The gypsy chef, Laura Funner, and she's going to pronounce it for me?
Was it Zinadoa?
Yeah, good job. Zinadoa. A southern eatery, southern cuisine eatery in Stanton. Stanton's gain. Goodness gracious. Stanton's gaining a rock star. Maria Marshall Barnes says that's Hogwaller. Georgia Gilmer says that's North Belmont. Bill McChesney says that's Central Belmont. All within a 30-second period. Maria Marshall Barnes, that's Hogwaller. Bill McChesney, that's Central Belmont. George Gilmer says that's Northern Belmont.
It's not in Belmont, but it is on the northern border, essentially, of Belmont.
Big Bamboo, back to back. Hogwaller, Central Belmont, North Belmont. What does Beer Run say on there? Do they say We're getting off track here. What a name they own Beer Run, the URL Beer Run. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Before I ever saw the Beer Run here, I thought Beer Run was like a, those like drive-through alcohol places you see. And
the Outer Banks. Beer Run says they're in downtown Charlottesville. On their website, they say they're downtown
skirting the issue.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, God.
I'm looking at the downtown, the neighborhoods of Charlottesville map, and I'm also looking at the Google map and matching up streets. And I'm telling you,
I think that's Hogwaller.
It could be, but in terms of official neighborhoods, it's in Little High.
Well, that's because your map doesn't have Hogwaller as an official neighborhood.
Because it's not an official neighborhood.
Yes, it is. Anyone that's been in this area enough knows that to not say Hogwaller is an official neighborhood is blasphemous.
Look up. What are the
viewers
borders?
And listeners that are watching this Fine and Fair talk show? Is Hogwaller an official neighborhood for you in Charlottesville? Anyone that's watching this program be like, Judah, don't die on that hill. Are you Googling is Hogwaller an official neighborhood in Charlottesville?
What are the borders of Hogwaller in Charlottesville?
Come on, I'm Googling is Hogwaller an official Charlottesville neighborhood.
All we've got about Hogwaller in the CVillepedia is that it's located in eastern Charlottesville and bordered on the south and east by Moores Creek. The name is not officially
properties along Moores Creek. The land is officially part of Belmont Carlton neighborhood. Is Hogwaller. It's officially part of the Belmont Carlton neighborhood. Beer Run's address is Carlton.
Yeah.
Okay, it literally says what the land is a part of. Beer Run's address is 156 Carlton Road. Hogwaller official boundaries is Belmont and Carlton. Okay, I think Hogwaller is a slam dunk. James Watson says it's almost like a fusion of Belmont and Woolen Mills. Bill McChesney says they're at the Water Street extension. James Watson, Hogwaller is a subsection of Belmont. People that live in Hogwaller be like, if you guys don't identify us as an official neighborhood, you're blasphemous. That's what they're saying. I want to close the show with James Franklin. We're 70 minutes in without stopping, by the way. 70 minutes in. Bill McChesney says the city wants to call Hogwaller East Belmont. James Franklin's the new head coach of Virginia Tech. Virginia football fans, James Franklin's hire is a monumental score for Hokie fans. James Franklin is a stud. The man knows how to recruit, and he's a winner. He won at Penn State. He just didn't win the top 10 games like Nittany Lions fans wanted. But James Franklin is an absolute stud, and he's going to make Virginia Tech really, really good. It's paramount Virginia finished this season strong by beating the bejeebus out of Virginia Tech and making the ACC championship to springboard the momentum, trampoline the momentum into next season as James Franklin is on the job. He is very, very good. Hokie fans should absolutely celebrate this hire. And Wahoo fans should be absolutely concerned with this hire. That's 71 straight minutes on the I Love CVille show. Judah Whitcapper was absolutely on point today. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the water cooler of content and conversation in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. So long.